Hi friends, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry if I sound like crap. I am a little bit, I don't want to say sick, I just don't feel very well today. But as you guys can tell from the title of today's video, I wanted to sit down and film something a little bit different. If you follow me on Twitter, have had a pretty rough go of it. The last week has pretty much affirmed for me why I think that Twitter is pretty much a trash can fire. And talking to people as events were happening, I wanted to sit down and film this because I feel like a lot of us mirror some of the sentiment that I have and my views on social media as a whole and the benefits, the pros and the cons of having social media. And I'm speaking from a perspective of somebody who struggles greatly with their mental health and struggles with figuring out the line of how often I want to be on Twitter, Instagram, that kind of stuff, how often I want to be available to people, how often I want to be giving my opinion on things and speaking about things. And that's really what this video is. And it is obviously, as you can tell, about cancel culture. This is something that has been around for as long as I can remember, really, but it's taken many different forms. And recently on Twitter, I was actually at the receiving end of cancel culture for something that I'm not really going to get into it, but essentially what happened was there was a topic, a discussion that was going around Twitter, and I gave my opinion on it. And on Twitter, as you guys know, you post one tweet and you can add subsequent tweets. So the first tweet that I said was just a very basic, this is how I felt, and then I went on to explain it in the subsequent tweets. And what happened is somebody only saw the first tweet that I had tweeted, ended up retweeting it, and my whole fucking social media blew up. And I was receiving tons of messages, I was receiving tons of comments, and essentially what ended up happening is I started losing subscribers, I started losing Twitter followers, I started losing Instagram followers. People that I know and love and are my friends were involved in it and were unfollowing me or judging based on just the one tweet. Now, I'm an adult, and I think that a lot of us that are on here are. Even if you're younger, I feel like a lot of us have like a level of being an adult because we are on social media and we are present and we know that you have to hold yourself to a higher standard in a way. So when that happened, I ended up, a lot of the friends that I had that read that first tweet that ended up, blocking me or ended up unfollowing me. And I was talking to people, the people that were messaging me, and a lot of people were saying, they didn't read your full tweet. They only read the first tweet. They're going off the first tweet, fuck them, it doesn't matter. But that really made me think about cancel culture as a whole. Now, it was very nerve-wracking the day that it happened. I completely deactivated my Twitter because I couldn't handle the influx of messages. I couldn't handle the influx of just backlash that I was getting for a very basic tweet and a very, I would say, poorly explained tweet on my part, and that's fine. But I wasn't given the chance to further explain. None of these people were coming to me, and I'll insert my reaction tweet to everything that was happening before I completely deactivated my Twitter. My Twitter is now up and running. You can deactivate it up to 30 days, which I did not know. But for a couple of days, I just needed to be off. I needed to not think about it. And I'm back now because everybody's going to BookCon and I really want to be there with my friends and I really want to see what's happening. And unfortunately, Twitter is the place for that. So I have muted a lot of words. But today, because of that, as somebody who has gone through this and has seen the other side of it, I have my eyes open a little bit more to how it can be and kind of what somebody who is being canceled can experience. Now, mine wasn't terrible. Like, yes, I had people sending me very negative things. Yes, I had people who I'd never even talked to saying that basically, I was just a shitty person. I had a really shitty take on things and to fuck me, basically. And so today I want to, sit down and explain to you based on that situation how I'm feeling about the whole thing. Now, the first thing that I really want to talk about, especially when it comes to social media, is a mob mentality. So a lot of the time what happens is if somebody posts something negative or something that people disagree with, if a large number of people disagree with it, or even if just a few people disagree with it, retweeting or commenting or making videos or just bashing other people turns into this cycle. So say you have a friend and somebody has said something to hurt them, you then get involved, or what tends to happen is people then get involved to defend their friend that has been affected by whatever it may be. And then your friend then comes to defend you because there's some sort of backlash to you saying something. And then a bunch of people get involved. And then what it really boils down to is that person who said the thing that offended your friend has hundreds of people or even dozens of people, even that's a lot, coming for them online. And online is a presence that you can't escape. Yes, you can delete your Twitter. Yes, you can delete your Instagram. Yes, you can delete your YouTube. But the mentality of it, you can't really get away from. And if you have a vested interest in being online presence like we do, like doing YouTube, you don't want to give that up, and there's no escape, because that is so important to you that you want to be there and you want to be present. So you have to handle and deal with what's happening. And that mob mentality really fucking scares me, because a lot of the time I feel like it is for things that don't necessarily deserve our time and our energy. And I feel like we don't really need to be caring or being so angry about certain things, but we are. And a lot of the issue that I have, and me and my roommate have talked about this, me and a bunch of my friends have talked about this, I feel like more so Twitter is becoming just an echo chamber. And what an echo chamber is essentially you surround yourself with people who have the same ideas as you, who have the same morals, the same values, which is good. But then you have people who you only think the same things about the same thing. So say I don't like the color blue, and I say I don't like the color blue. All my friends in my echo chamber also don't like the color blue. And what tends to happen is, say a friend comes in and says, I actually really like the color blue. The rest of the echo chamber says, no, we don't like the color blue. You can leave. And that is what an echo chamber is at its basis, is people with like-minded ideas or the exact same ideas only using each other as sounding boards to then validate how they are feeling. And then when somebody comes along with a different opinion or a different view on things, that person is shunned or treated like shit because they don't have the same hive mind mentality as everybody else. And I feel like these things really happened in the book community because obviously we are primarily, a lot of us have mental health issues, a lot of us are gay or LGBT or LGBT plus, whatever it may be. A lot of us have like past things that have happened in our lives, and we have a lot of triggers and stuff. But when you kind of set up that kind of group, when everyone around you has the same opinion as you, you're not learning anything. You're not changing your opinion. You're not growing. You're not evolving as a person. And I don't tend to give my opinions really online. The only things that I really speak out about are rights. Like, I just think that other people should be treated with respect. And that's why when this happened, it's the first time in a long time I spoke about the incident that had happened and gave my opinion. And what I've learned from that is that my Twitter has become an echo chamber, that a lot of people on my Twitter have the same mentality and think the same things. And I don't want that for myself. I don't want only the same people with the same opinions. And what's really funny is the whole tweet that kind of started it off, the girl who posted it actually messaged me, and I'm not going to give names because the situation itself doesn't really matter, but just kind of what transpired from it matters. But the tweet that set off the entire discussion, she actually messaged me and was like, I am so sorry. Like, I was just speaking from what happened to me, and I'm sorry that you're getting backlash for this. And I really appreciated that. And we had a conversation about differing opinions. I had a lot of people come to me with differing opinions in my DMs, and I tried to further explain to them kind of where my opinion came from. And even those conversations, people were like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So having people come to you and explain the situation is way more beneficial than just echo chambering the damn thing or just putting people on blast all the time. Another thing that really kind of popped into my mind with this whole thing, I have noticed recently, and this is not to say necessarily that there's anything wrong with the younger generation. I'm not saying that at all. A lot of my best friends are in their early 20s or even in their teens, like their late teens. But I have noticed when it comes to social media that there is a bit of an age disparity when it comes to cancel culture, because my generation, if somebody upset you, somebody said something, like your knee-jerk reaction could not always be to tell them to fuck off. It can't always be like that because we had more face-to-face conversations with people. We were forced to do that because I am of the generation that lived before the fucking internet. So if you had an issue with somebody, I was actually talking to another booktuber about this in messages when all of this was going down. If you had an issue with somebody, you had to wait till they either responded to a fucking email, if you did have the internet, you had to wait till you saw them in person, or you had to call them or say it to their face. And a lot of what happens on the internet, I feel like people wouldn't say to other people's face because the internet gives you a sense of grandeur. It makes you feel like you can do whatever you want because it's an instant, you say something, they react kind of thing. But if it was in person, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't react the way that you're reacting. You wouldn't want to so quickly burn bridges. And another thing is, a lot of the time when there were disagreements between like you and your friends, or, you know, somebody said something that you didn't like, you didn't have the time to immediately respond to them like you can online. And it took you a while to really think about the type of response. And then in turn, it helped you kind of, I don't want to say get over it, but it helped you process it a little bit before you were reacting. There were no knee-jerk reactions growing up for me. We didn't have that luxury. And even now as an adult, as somebody who has a career, I don't do things like that online. I don't engage in things like that online because that shit will bite you in the ass later. The things that you say online do not go away, and the things that you do online don't go away. Yes, you can delete your Twitter, but there's always screenshots. There's always people when you put your foot in your mouth that are going to be paying attention to that, and you have to be aware of that. And that's how we were raised going into the internet, because we didn't have it. So going into it, they were like, nothing, you can never get rid of anything. Like, that was the big thing that I worried about when it came to getting on YouTube, is somebody's always going to be able to find my videos. And that really worried me. And that's why when it comes to social media, I try to make sure that what I put out there is stuff that I would never be ashamed of, that I'm never going to look back on and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. Oh my God, I can't believe I reacted like that. I can't believe I tore somebody down like that. I never want to do that. So I feel like there is a little bit of an age disparity for people who grew up online and have always had this. And you see it with a lot of the trolls, a lot of the people who are inciting drama, a lot of the people who are retweeting and bashing people, a lot of people involved in the cancel culture are younger. And I know it's not really their fault because they're working with the tools that they were given. And like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with the younger generation. A lot of my friends are younger. I don't care. But I do notice, like scientifically, that it is primarily the younger generation that's getting mad about these things. And I think the problem is we started canceling people for very valid things, for being racist, for being homophobic, for being sexist, for just anything like that. And then we kind of got addicted to the sense of camaraderie that happens when we cancel somebody. The, oh, my friends hate this person and we're all canceling them, and you like all band together to really take down the bad guy. But then we got into, oh, this person said something that we're not comfortable with. We're all going to come together to do it again. And it's not even like, we're not even fighting for the thing that we're so upset about at that point. We're just fighting for the constant want to tear somebody down. We're really craving the drama. And I have been victim to that. I have involved myself in that. I have, if something's happening on Twitter, DM people and be like, what's going on? Like, we all to an extent like drama. And I just frankly don't want to fucking be that person anymore. I'm almost 30. I don't care about that crap. I have enough going on in my life that I don't need to be involved in somebody said this to upset somebody. Like, I don't need to. And I wish more people, and I spoke about this in my tweet, if you've got a problem with somebody, fucking message them. Because I feel like a lot of times what's happening is that people are canceling other people or speaking out about other people for clout. And I feel like a lot of when people do this, it's from jealousy. So there is somebody who's very successful, there's somebody who's doing well, and you get mad at something that they say and you use it as an opportunity to tear them down, to tear down this person that you're pissed off at because they're doing well. And that's fucking disgusting. Frankly, it's fucking disgusting. And my issue with it is that, you know, a lot of the time people are like friends not 20 minutes before this thing happens. And because they said one thing that you don't agree with, or they had a differing opinion on something, you essentially negate every good thing about them. That's the thing I think that I was struggling with when all of this happened. I try to be supportive. I try to be loving. I try to be like a good, I don't know, like influence in the community. I just like really care about everybody. And when this happened, it was like everything that I'd ever done, like all of the good I'd ever done, all of the, you know, like collabs I'd ever done, or all of the working with people. Like I said, a lot of friends unfollowed me. And it was like, because of that one fucking thing, every good thing about me or every good thing that I had done was just negated. It didn't matter. And that's a really terrible way to live, because if you live like that, you're never going to have people in your life, because every single person at one point in time is going to let you down in some way. But I have to say, somebody having a differing opinion from you should not be a letdown. It's so dumb to me, because we are all so different, and the fact that we are basically begging each other to be exactly the same 24/7 online is so fucking stupid. I just don't like that. Genuinely fills me with rage that we are such a diverse group, but at the same time, we are diverse only in our skin tone and only in our sexuality. Everything else, we expect each other to be exactly the same. And that's fucking impossible, because as with the girl who started the whole tweet thing and the whole reason I got like drug into it, when her and I were speaking, she was giving me her life story, you know, kind of like how she came to this conclusion. And I was kind of being like, yeah, that makes sense. Like completely different backgrounds, completely different. It makes sense that we would have different thoughts. And we agreed. But we still have completely separate opinions on what happened. And, you know, on like the whole topic in general. And we did that. And we're older. We're both older women. And so for me, it's like, I don't want to live in a bubble. I don't want to only have people on my timeline or people that I know that have the same fucking opinion as me. I don't want people to have the same values as me even. Like, I don't know. I like diversity in every sense of the word. I like to be able to have people in my life that are different from me, that have different opinions. And another thing is, by the same token, just because you disagree with what one person says, like somebody that you really love, if they have a differing opinion from you, that doesn't mean that they're a horrible person. It doesn't mean that you disagree with everything that they stand for. You can love somebody and disagree with one thing that they think. By the same token, there are terrible people who have good ideas, who have certain things. Like if you agree with one thing that a bad person does, it doesn't necessarily mean that you agree with everything that that person does. So for example, a lot of people like to defend certain authors. Yes, I like their writing. Yes, I think that they're a terrible person. You can differentiate the two. For me, that topic's a little bit more gray, because I tend to think that if an author is a bad person and they're really just using, you know, their money to like live, then I'm fine. But for example, Orson Scott Card is a really shitty person. I don't buy his books because he donates money to anti-LGBT groups. He speaks at these groups. I don't want him to use my money for that. And until you really know that that's what somebody's doing, if your support is actively turning into something negative, there's nothing you can do. I saw a lot of authors being canceled, a lot of authors getting thrown under the bus, a lot of authors that I really like. And for me, they have to be actively doing something incredibly negative. And I think too often these days we're canceling people. And if we keep canceling people, there's not going to be anyone left. It really blows my mind that we get so torn up on the internet. But I swear to God, if in the moment, every single one of us that were fighting on Twitter that day would have been transported to a fucking room together, I guarantee it would have turned out completely different. I had friends of mine who I'm still incredibly close with after this happening, who retweeted my initial tweet and were like, I fucking disagree with you, like going off on me. And then we're like, oh wait, I read the rest of it, I understand. And I'm like, this is what's happening, because people only tweet or talk about what suits their narrative, what makes them angry, what gets them clout. I don't know. The internet is just such a picky, choosy kind of place. And I think a lot of people that are reaching out to me who were like, you didn't explain anything badly. Because I deleted everything. I was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I'm not dealing with any of this shit. Like, you can't really ever take anything back because I'm sure there's screenshots. I don't really care particularly that there are screenshots and that people were still talking about it, but I didn't want it on my page. I didn't want new people seeing it and then trying to engage me. But just the initial tweet and not being able to fully explain, or not being able to explain better, or to have people who considered me a friend or that I considered friend unfollowing me and blocking me because of one tweet. It makes me feel like a lot of relationships online are pretty shallow. Because if somebody in my life, say G, for example, if G posted something straight out of left field and I was just like, fucking excuse me, I wouldn't retweet and go at her. I wouldn't unfollow her. I wouldn't block her. I would message her and be like, what's going on? Because I care about her. So I care about her thoughts and her feelings and how she's going to take it. because I'm sure there's going to be backlash if I'm pissed off about it. And I want to know, because in a sense you feel a little bit betrayed that somebody you care about could have this different thought, but you need to have the discussion, you need to have the dialogue, you need to have the discourse with the person that you care about. So a lot of these people who I considered friends or considered me friends, I blocked them. I blocked a lot of people that unfollowed me because of that, or who, not because they unfollowed me, but people who were speaking about me and the situation, I blocked them. If they were a friend. If they were just some random person, I didn't block them. But if they were a friend, somebody that I considered friend, to so quickly turn on me like that, to so quickly, not even turn on me, but to involve themselves in drama at my expense, I blocked them. Because I don't want them in my life. I don't want them to be able to see what I'm doing. I don't want them to be able to see what I'm uploading. I don't want them on my Instagram. I don't want them on my Twitter, because they at that point have betrayed trust in me. They betrayed my trust because they didn't message me. They didn't ask me what's going on. We don't do that when somebody's offended us these days, and I just don't fucking get it. And it just proves that a lot of relationships are very shallow online. And some of my very best friends I've met online, and I love them, and I would message them and I would talk to them and be like, what's going on? And I've realized that those are the only people that matter on this platform, because I have never felt so cast out from something. I've never been at the brunt of something like this. And a lot of things that we don't consider when we're doing shit like this is how this can affect someone's mental health. Really poor example, but a very valid example. Not a poor example in the fact that I think people have kind of dehumanized this person, but we all knew about the beauty community drama, right? And James Charles, when he disappeared for like a week and a half after it happened, people were like, where the fuck is he? He should be responding. He should be dealing with this stuff, because that's everyone's first thing is we want to hear from, the perpetrator. We want to know like their fucking thoughts on everything. And he said he went away because it was like the darkest time that he's ever experienced. And and people were just like, you know what, fuck him, like using mental health as a thing. But that day that this shit happened to me, even on the scale that it happened to me, I was pretty fucked up. Like I just laid in bed. I was in bed for almost 48 hours. The only thing that I did is I went to the grocery store. And it's like, we don't consider that, because for some reason when we see people online, we seem to forget that they're human. We seem to forget that they have friends and family that love them, that they have a life outside of this shit. And cancel culture is so toxic and negative, and this is basically just me saying, I won't be engaging in cancel culture. I won't be engaging with people who retweet and argue and only do it for clout and only do it to cause drama because they're addicted to it, because it's pretty obvious. You can see when somebody's doing it for that reason. You can see when someone is doing it to climb the social ladder. It's very plain. When it comes to the situation, I'm not saying I was perfect, but I think that it could have been handled better. It's really hard to try to explain yourself and reach out to people that have blocked you. It's really hard to explain yourself and reach out to people who are retweeting only parts that fit their narrative that they're trying to get past to break you down. And it's hard to do that. And, I still tried, but at the end of the day, does it really fucking matter to me? But yeah. So my question is, do you think that there's an age disparity? Do you think that it's the younger generation that does this? Like, do you share the same view as me when it comes to that? Because obviously your life circumstance can shape you. So maybe you're just an angry person who does that kind of thing online. Maybe you're just a nice person. You still do that kind of shit online. Like, what's your reasoning for involving yourself in cancel culture? And are you ever ashamed of it? Because I'm ashamed that I have ever given my mental time to anything like that. It is one thing if somebody is racist or bigoted or homophobic or sexist or, inciting violence or speaking about violent things. And it's another thing if people have just differing opinions. Now, I will say, however, this whole situation stemmed from a couple of authors saying some, I wouldn't say inappropriate things online, but giving their opinions. And that in itself, I think, is okay. I think what's not okay is to not pay attention to the audience you're speaking to, but also they're human and they're just going to do what they want. But the issue that I had is when some of those authors were talked to about how they were making some of their readers feel, it was the dismissiveness that I'm not okay with. You are allowed to have an opinion, and somebody is allowed to disagree with you. That doesn't mean that you need to change your opinion on the thing, but you do need to listen to how you've hurt them. That is the issue that I had with some of the stuff, is not that they engaged in this kind of conversation or that they, were talking about what they were talking about, but that when readers came to them and said, hey, this thing kind of really hurt my feelings, they were dismissed by one of the authors. One of the authors was just like, yeah, basically just fuck you. I won't be reading her book. And just not because of this, but just it doesn't sound interesting to me. But the other authors that were involved, I'm still going to support them because they weren't the ones who were like, yeah, fuck you, basically. If you say something and somebody has an issue with what you've said, it is nice of you to apologize. I would like to think that if your words have hurt somebody, even if you disagree with that person, you'll still take the time to be like, I'm sorry that my opinion hurt you. And I'm sorry that my words have affected you. It's not saying that what you think is right or wrong or what they think is right or wrong, but you are acknowledging that they have walked a different life path and the thing that you said did hurt their feelings. And that's okay. I don't know. I feel so passionately about this, and I felt so passionately about it for a while because I often feel like on Twitter, every single time I log on, we're mad about something. And a lot of the time when we're mad, it's not even about things that fucking matter. I don't know. And even if we get mad about things that sort of don't matter, but matter to someone, because you can't really say that something shouldn't matter at all, because if somebody's passionate about it, then they're fucking passionate about it. I think that we get too mad. We get too many people involved who aren't even involved. So say somebody posts something about, I don't know, like, we'll just use the example about what happened online. Say somebody posts something about incest, and you are not an incest survivor. You know no one. You just think it's gross. Say somebody that you kind of follow goes, I'm an incest survivor, and I don't like this post, and I'm mad. You can support your friend in a positive way because it is not your hurt. It is not your hurt to be upset about. People tend to take on other people's hurts as their own, and that's not okay. You should love and support your friend in a positive way without involving yourself in drama. Because what happens is, say it's about LGBT, right? Say you're gay, like me. So say something happened online, an author pissed me off, said something bad about bisexual people, and I was getting mad. And I was talking to the author, talking about the author, and voicing my opinion. I am valid. I'm allowed to speak about that thing. It makes sense that I'm talking about it because I'm gay and I'm the one being thrown under the fucking bus. Say my friend, completely straight, no predisposition to men or women, just I like men, I'm married, whatever, no gay in me at all. Say my friend starts getting involved in that and starts really ripping the author to shreds, I'm going to say something to them because it's not their place. It is my place to speak about this thing. It's not your place. If you want to be an advocate, if you want to get mad at people for doing these types of things, support the victims of the thing, support the survivors of the thing, like whatever it may be. Because I tend to notice when people get really involved in drama, if they are not the drama that's being spoken about, if they are not a victim of incest, they are not gay, they are not black, they are not, whatever, it feels so cringy to me. It really feels cringy to me. And that is like they're trying to take your voice by speaking about the thing themselves. And I don't like it. It leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. And that's usually when I'm like, that person's doing it for clout. That person's doing it because this thing is blowing up and they want to talk about it online because everybody's talking about it and they'll be seen. And then people who in the fucking echo chamber that agree with them will start following them and then they'll get a bigger... That's how that shit works, guys. That's how that shit works. If you see people who are not directly affected by these things doing anything other than just supporting their friends, just retweeting and being like, I love you, I'm sorry you're going through this, or reaching out through messages. Obviously, you don't see messages that are sent to people. If you see people doing anything other than that, chances are 9 times out of 10, they're doing it for clout. And it's gross. It's so fucking gross to me. I don't like it. I don't like it. And it's so fucking plain. And a lot of people that unfollowed me, I'm like, yeah, I can tell that you're a fucking clout chaser, because the longer you go back on their timeline, they're fucking mad about everything. First off, I don't have time to be mad about everything. And maybe that's another disparity between like ages. I work full time. I do YouTube full time. I try to make time for my friends and family. Currently going through a divorce. A bunch of other behind the scenes shit that I can't talk about legally is happening right now in my life. And I don't have time as an adult to get so pissed off about what somebody said online. I don't have sleep. I don't have time to lose sleep over that shit. I don't have time to be on my phone arguing with people, because I've got things I've got to do. Now, if you're younger, you might have more time, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's why there's a disparity. And I'm not trying to break the younger generation down, but like I said, this is just what I see all the fucking time. And I'm tired. And I'm probably going to lose followers for this video, and honestly, I don't care anymore. I literally don't care. This is my platform, my channel. I put up what I want to put up. I usually mind my own fucking business, and it still bit me in the ass. And if I quit YouTube for anything, it would be this shit. It would hands down be this shit. We should be getting upset over important things. The whole fucking Trump administration. We should be rallying. We spend so much fucking time online when we could be out protesting. My mom got arrested 3 weeks ago for protesting. She went to the White House and was like, impeach Trump, and got arrested. Her and like 10 other people. Like, what is our generation doing that we're just spending so much time online just being pissed off about stupid shit? And we're doing it, and because we're doing that, we don't have time for other things. Like, oh my God, it's so dumb. I literally hate it. But I need to end this video because I'm starting to get mad, like, the more I think about it. We are a very angry generation. Like, my generation, like, what are we called? The millennials and the generation after us, whatever the fuck that generation's called. Like, we're very angry. We're very passionate, and we have more outlets for it. All I'm saying is, in summation, find better fucking outlets. If you have so much time to sit online and do that shit, take up a fucking hobby. It's dumb. I'm tired of it. If you have said something online, if you have voiced an opposite opinion to other people and you have gotten backlash, it's okay to still want to think the thing that you want to think. But by the same token, if you have offended somebody, especially a survivor of something, you need to acknowledge that. You need to apologize. Your words have meaning to other people. If you decide to be a clout chaser, if you decide that you want to be somebody who does these kind of things online, I ask you to really think about your motivation behind it. Are you trying to help victims, or are you just getting involved to get involved? Are you a victim of the thing yourself, or are you just in it to get exposure? If you are doing it to try to support your friends, maybe just try to support your friends. Like, you don't need to be doing that kind of thing online. You can just be telling them that you love them and spending time with them or reaching out to them. It doesn't need to be a giant fucking grand gesture where you tear down another human being to make your friend feel better. Because if my friend did that, I'd think they're kind of a really shitty person. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't want Twitter to be an echo chamber anymore. I don't think that it's healthy. I don't think that it's something that we should be doing to each other. And I don't think that it's something that we have room for anymore in our community. We're all reading primarily the same books. We're all hating on primarily the same authors. We all have primarily the same ideas. And while I have learned that my opinions need to be kept to myself, because I never know even if I think it's a safe opinion, even if I think it's like a well-explained opinion, people are still only going to pay attention to the thing that really fits their narrative. So I have learned to keep my opinions on things to myself, and I probably won't talk about much on here anymore. A lot of the personal stuff. I never wanted it to come to that, but that's kind of where I'm at, because I've always tried to be pretty transparent, and I've always thought that people liked me, but you say one wrong thing and it's the end of the fucking world. So that is gonna be it. I am so angry that I'm crying, so I'm gonna cut the video off here. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, let me know. Leave down below your thoughts on these things. Do you disagree with me? I would love to have a conversation with you if you disagree with me. I want to know what people are thinking. I want to know what people are feeling. I want to have an open fucking dialogue for this stuff. I want to get it out there because I don't want my idea to, or my feelings to be the be all end all of life for me. I want to know what other people think. So let me know down below if you have any thoughts on these things. But I love you guys a ton. Thank you for those of you when this was happening who, like the 20, 30 people that messaged me when they saw it happening on Twitter were like, oh my God, are you okay? Thank you even more so to the people who reached out to me on Instagram after I deactivated my Twitter to see if I was still okay. Obviously didn't do it on purpose, but I was blown away that people went that far. So yeah, I love you guys a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that I was angry for most of it, but like I said, let me know down below your thoughts because I would really, really like to know, especially if you disagree with me, but I'll see you guys in the next video.